Hello and welcome to a Republic Day special on NDTV 24/7. I'm Vishnu Shom and I'm on board the Indian Navy submarine INS Sindhukirti. Submarines are more important to the Indian Navy now than perhaps ever before. Increasingly, we are seeing the presence of Chinese submarines in the Indian Ocean. Submarines like this perform an absolutely essential role, but being a submariner is one of the toughest jobs in the world. We'll tell you why.
Driving slot, keep clear.
After another red was noting.
Premises not much region lock, being trained to go. Take load on 48009.
Roger, off range.
Very good.
It may not look the most impressive submarine in the world. Small, squat, with a rough finish to its weather-beaten hull. But make no mistake, this old submarine, the INS Sindhukirti, still forms a part of the Navy's cutting edge. That's because she's been refitted, virtually rebuilt with modern sensors, weapons and systems that transform her into what the Navy calls a hole in the water.
Depth 100 meters, inspect compartment.
A submarine so quiet that detecting it in the ocean's depths is almost impossible unless you know exactly where to look at a particular time. As the submarine gets set for a sortie, a mission which could last as long as 40 days, we meet the crew of the boat to get an idea of how they operate, how they live, and if necessary, how they fight hundreds of meters beneath the surface of the ocean.
Change over to disposables. Clear for induction.
Make no mistake, this is not a comfortable place to be in. If you're tall, like I am, it's a colossal effort to climb down this ladder to get to the operations room of the submarine. But trained for years to operate in this environment, sailors on board the Sindhukirti virtually float around these spaces, moving rapidly from compartment to compartment through these watertight hatches, machinery and equipment all around them. There isn't an inch of space to spare. In the old Soviet era, when this submarine was designed, the comfort of the crew was often an afterthought.
Follow the order.
This submarine has only one function, to track and hunt down its enemies. These could be enemy ships and submarines or targets on the land. The thing about submarines is that these are clearly not luxury liners. As you can see, getting into spaces and out of spaces, which I'm doing with a considerable amount of difficulty, requires training of its own. Now, this is something done extremely quickly by submariners. They get into these spaces and out of these spaces really, really fast, because if you can't do that, then operating in the confines of this submarine becomes impossible. So just how difficult can it get to operate in these spaces? Take a look at this. Right beneath where I'm standing now is a bank of batteries, which powers everything on this submarine. This sailor is monitoring the batteries. Imagine getting stuck in a place like this.
Any fire does get into smoke, so that compartment's filled of smoke very early. So we take all the precautions, like in battery post, we have monitoring system. People are, the watchkeepers are monitoring the H2, O2 percentage, hydrogen, oxygen percentage, and that has been continuously monitored 24/7. You have to be free of fire hazard at all point of time.
And you're standing on top of a battery pit. There are hundreds of batteries underneath your feet at this stage.
Exactly. There are total 240 batteries in this submarine. We are standing on third battery post. Here it contains around 120 batteries.
And these are huge batteries.
I can tell you by the weight of the batteries, one battery weighs around 900 kg. So that is total, the size of this pit is around 120.
And right next to the battery chamber is the accommodation for enlisted men. 6 sailors would be sleeping here at any one time, while others would be at their stations. There is no day or night here, just periods of work and periods of rest for weeks on end.
Once the last lines have been cast off from alongside, you are no longer attached to your family. Whatever happens, happens there. Whatever happens to you, you're absolutely in 2 different worlds. You are absolutely not in any connect with your family. We always believe that back home, our support system in the Navy will take care of our family.
Sound command post, carry out all on
And in case you were wondering about where the Navy's starched uniforms disappeared, here's a reality check. In parts of the Sindhukirti, temperatures can soar to 42 degrees despite constant air conditioning. The light blue gowns the men wear are disposable sets. They wear them for 3 days and throw them away. It's more comfortable and more practical to work this way.
Very good.
Right, closing, sir.
Very good.
Wardrobe SFD fine.
Neither do the sailors bathe here. There are no showers, just one toilet for 70 men. These are tough conditions. A small submarine like this is hardly a luxury yacht.
This is the heart of the INS Sindhukirti, the operations room of the submarine. It's an area where the commanding officer passes orders, the executive officer follows through along with several other sailors and officers. This is an area where there is always a necessary amount of tension. That's because operations are conducted over here the way they should be during peace and potentially during war.
Capture enemy aircraft right ahead.
Half-height main motor.
Flight queue.
6 kilometer boat going down. Very good, coxswain. Left 100 meter, sir.
Enemy aircraft right ahead.
Dive. Dive.
Door on march.
Half-height main motor. Right to 50 meters. 5 degrees off bubble.
In the blink of an eyelid, a normal sortie can become an emergency situation. The crew responds instantly. There is not a second to waste. 39-year-old Captain GSTD is the Sindhukirti's commanding officer, one among a handful of officers in the Indian Navy considered good enough to be given charge of this asset. Each and every man here is handpicked. They are the best among the best. The Navy cannot afford to have anyone but the most skilled in charge of boats like this. It's dangerous business down here, and the process of selecting submariners is tedious. To be qualified for command of a submarine is a grueling process. Years of commitment to the submarine arm, years of examinations and evaluations and assessments, and an oral board exam conducted by senior officers determined to track down any possible weakness an officer may have. Only a handful make it, the very best of the best.
Each and every crew member is trained repeatedly over a period of time till the time he receives that level of competency to instantly react to a situation. It is so ingrained in him that if he wakes up at night and he's told that there is an emergency, he would respond immediately to it as if it was his own self-nature to do so.
And that's true of the enlisted men as well. Master Chief Petty Officer N.P. Mahato is the senior-most sailor here. Not only does he physically control the movement of the submarine, he's very often the captain's eyes and ears, working with the crew in what are often unbelievably challenging conditions.
I boost up their morals. I tell them, see, I am an old man, but I am running from forehand to afterhand.
Right.
So by listening this, they also, their courage come up and they do the whatever we required in the submarine. They boost up their energy and they go for the job.